Hey everyone, and welcome to Boss Advisory. Today we're going to talk about the fastest way to save money. Most people dream of escaping the employment world, yet most of their savings initiatives fail, or they find it impossible to start saving. Many people save without a plan. In this video, I offer the easiest strategy to save money. Let me tell you how my friend Mike discovered the 1% savings rule and how it helped him build sustainable savings habits that supported his early retirement desire. Mike was a tax manager at one of the big four accountancy companies until he quit 3 months ago to invest in golf, which he loves. Before quitting, Mike was great at accounting, but there was one problem: he hated it. Despite his tax professional success, Mike's passion was elsewhere. Mike wished he had enough money in his bank account to hand in his 2-week notice and never see his boss again. This desire kept him up at night, but he had no idea how to make it come true. He didn't know how to save money or how much to save to quit his job. After fumbling with friends' opinions, Mike randomly deposited funds in his bank account every month. His financial plan had no pattern. He only saved what was left of his income after a year of trial and error. Mike was stuck on his path to financial freedom. His money ran dry. He wasn't making any progress, so he had to keep working 9 to 5. He only saved $276 by year's end, and this, compared to what he needed to retire early, was pocket change. He realized he needed a savings plan to guide him through his financial path and propel him to financial independence. His plan was to retire by 35. At that time, when he was 27, he required a saving plan to make him affluent in 8 years, and it must be a good plan. He was saved by a professional finance workshop. The workshop changed Mike's life. Jeff, a 50-year-old financial expert, had retired from his IT job at 32. Like Mike, Jeff had been a young, vibrant man stuck in it. He wanted to leave the rat race to pursue his passion. Jeff, 23, then introduced the 1% savings rule. How he saved over $100,000 in 9 years was a mystery to Mike, and he was eager to find that Mike's journey wasn't too different from his. Jeff's only advantage was that he'd found the 1% rule earlier. According to him, this rule is key to saving. The most significant was early retirement, since, as Jeff mentioned, it depends on your savings practices. First, the session examined the 1% savings guideline. Every 6 months, the 1% savings rule suggests increasing your savings by 1%. So if you save 10% of your monthly salary, boost it by 1% twice a year. Doing the math, you'll save 12% in your first year. This discovery made Mike wonder where Jeff had been. This seemed realistic and allowed him to save with whatever he could spare. Before that, Mike had only encountered severe saving tactics that required him to give up every luxury and never have fun again. That class helped Mike estimate how much he needed to save to retire at 35, 8 years away. Jeff explained a saving formula he used. The time Mike would need to retire was based on his savings rate as a percentage of his take-home wage. His savings rate was based on his monthly salary and how much he spent. If we earned $10,000 a month but squandered it all, he'd never retire. If he made $10,000 a month and saved it all, he'd retire today. Mike understood he was closer to the never retiring end of the scale, but he was certain that with his new financial education, retiring early wouldn't be a pipe dream. Using the saving rate on the x-axis and the years needed for retirement on the y-axis, you can determine how many years you'll need to retire comfortably and afford your present standard of living. If you chart these figures, you may determine the number of years needed for retirement at various savings rates. Using this scenario, Mike could retire in 17 years if he saved 50% of his take-home earnings. But this is too lengthy for him. To retire early in 8 years, he needed to save up to 70% of his income. Despite its difficulty, he decided to try it. His plan included lowering spending, employing the 1% savings rule, and setting up extra income streams to invest in a cash-producing assets. Mike reevaluated his finances. Unless he altered his finances, early retirement would be impossible due to significant expenses. He sold his Corvette convertible, which cost $160 a month in terms of insurance. He also reduced the number of times he eat out and cut his TV subscription by half. This saved him $500 per month after his $5,000 take-home salary. After lowering his spending, Mike was able to raise his savings rate. He saved 40% of his monthly wage. And since he had no family to take care for at that time, he was able to boost his rate by 1% every month. He learned that decreasing spending was just as advantageous to him in the long term as growing his income. As Jeff said, decreasing spending was a double-edged sword. This doubled his financial gain. Reduced spending would allow him to save more and retire early. All of his savings were invested in dividends, which enhanced his lifetime passive income. Mike was well prepared for retirement after learning to automate and save. Jeff's recommendation was to automate his funds to develop a consistent saving culture. Mike automated his retirement plan contributions. In 2 years, his company deducted his monthly payment from his paycheck before he got it, and it helped. This prompted him to budget and cut expenses he didn't need. Mike was now frugal, but he was pleased since his aspirations were closer. His next action was to increase his salary to save faster. Now, Mike learned another financial lesson from Jeff's session. Even when Jeff had an IT job, he didn't rely on it. Jeff had various cash inflows that allowed him to save more and invest in real estate. As these assets are dividends, he reinvests them in the market and they continue to expand. The urge to try a similar investment path inspired Mike to set up an internet side hustle in freelancing, writing, and graphic design. After work, he created digital products on the web and sold them online to make extra money. Use the additional $1,000 from a side gig to start investing. And the stock market welcomes every investor, whether they have $500 or $1 million to invest. Mike might exploit compound interest by investing in stocks. The cashier's original investment grew over time. Before Mike knew it, his revenue accrued interest had snowballed. Mike's strategy paid off as his 31st birthday approached and he began telling his net worth. Mike had over $1.5 million in cash, real estate, and paper assets, enough to pay his annual cost of living. A week after his birthday, Mike strolled into his manager's office to discuss. Mike gave his supervisor 2 weeks' notice and left. Leaving the manager's office, Mike couldn't help but gravel at the notion of finally being off the corporate treadmill and quits his job 30 years before the usual individual. If you're like Mike and want to retire early, you now know how. Create a savings plan, supplement your income, and cut your cost. And if you accomplish all these things consistently, you can exit the rat race early like Mike did. Thank you guys so much for watching Boss Advisory, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and hit the bell so you get notified on every incredible content we make for you. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next one.